Postseason Live, presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
Javy Baez, the difference maker in this ball game as the Cubs defeat the San Francisco Giants in Game 1 of the NLDS 1-0. Wow, that was it. Just one single run, but that doesn't make it any less fun to watch. Welcome in to Cubs Postseason Live.
Cubs with just 3 hits, and we're changing the flags. Now just 10 wins away from a World Series championship. The Cubs find a way to get to Cueto late, and they pull out the win. Again, down to 10 wins now for the World Series championship. Clark and Addison, the fans starting to spill out, but they're taking their time after this one. I'm guessing they're soaking it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a nice shot to watch there from Clark and Addison. Of course, the atmosphere at Wrigley Field tonight, just electric for this first game of the NLDS. And you see some guys, of course, flying the W. How about that? The marquee cam. That looks good, doesn't it, Luke?
I also, if you look at the construction, you can't see it here past the marquee. They have a giant W for the playoffs out there on the new construction building that'll be out in that little triangle section down the left field line. But the fans starting to come out. Happy fans at Wrigley Field. A lot of tension in this one. When your team only has 2 hits all game long, you're waiting for something to happen, and the Cubs fans probably thinking, boy, hope they don't blow Jon Lester's spectacular outing in this one. A real pitcher's duel, and the Cubs came through.
That's right, and this you see down in your lower right-hand corner, that is Google Earth Cam. So you can take a look at that as Blue Cross Blue Shield helps present that live. Let's take a look at the highlights from this one. As you can imagine, the Stars were out in full force before the ball game. Former Cub Billy Williams, Mike Ditka, and it's not a game without Eddie Vedder, is it, in the postseason? Just to name a few. Jon Lester, number 12 postseason career start. His personal catcher, David Ross, had his back early. Gorkis Hernandez butted his way on to start the night, but Ross doesn't let him go any farther, picking off the runner at second, and then stares down the Giants' dugout. Wow.
Get off my lawn.
Exactly. Moving along to the third, similar situation for the Giants. Connor Gillespie on first for Johnny Cueto. After Lester's first pitch, Ross fires to first base. Javy Baez with the tag, the snag and tag. Grandpa Ross with a pickoff and a caught stealing. How about that? Bottom of the frame, some more Ross.
Ross with a drive to left field. That ball's well hit. Hernandez slides at the ivy to make a brilliant catch.
Hernandez, who was picked off by Ross in the first, gets some revenge, and we are scoreless through 3. Johnny Cueto showing his love. Giants half of the 4th, a man aboard for Angel Pagan with 2 outs as he takes Jon Lester into left field. That ball nosedives and just gets past the sliding Ben Zobrist. Buster Posey, who began at first, could have possibly scored on the misplay, and with 2 outs, he should have been aggressive, but the Cubs catch a break. So next up, Brandon Crawford with ducks on the pond, but Lester gets him to ground out to his counterpart at short. Lester, like a magician, escapes the jam.
Home half of the 4th inning. Chris Bryant standing at second with 2 down. Ben Zobrist trying to push across the first run. Kelby Tomlinson looking like Mark Trestman takes it away, throwing leather all over the field. No score after 4. Both pitchers clearly with their A games in Game 1. Cueto still dealing. Cubs batting in the 6th. Lester, Fowler, and Bryant. Here's Fowler, and then Bryant all swinging. 1-2-3 inning. Cueto punches out the side. 8 strikeouts for the righty at this point. Still no score. We advance to the 8th, and Bruce Bochy decides to leave in a tired Cueto to face Javy Baez. So would the move pay off for the Giants skipper? Baez, the solo shot to left. It was that kind of game. You knew it when it left the bat. Bill Murray loving it. It gets to the basket. Baez delivers the game-winning blast late in the contest. And Aroldis Chapman would close the door on the Giants in the top of the 9th for the save. Giants still without a 9th inning comeback all season. Cubs take Game 1 1-0, and they lead the best of 5, 1-0 as well. Take a look at the box score there. There's really what jumps out at you is just 3 hits all game.
It's very impressive.
3 hits.
And the Giants managed just 6 as well. But what Jon Lester did, simply impressive and efficient as well, throwing 8 innings, just 5 hits, 5 strikeouts, not a single walk. And, oh, by the way, he was efficient, just 86 pitches. That compared to the Johnny Cueto line. Cueto at 118 for the evening. That pitch he threw to Baez, that was his 108th of the game on a 3-2 count. And you saw what happened, the game-winning solo home run. How about this stat? That was the first home run the Giants have given up in the postseason since the 7th inning of the 2014 World Series. Of course, the scary number there, Luke, is the fact that it was the 2014 World Series. Not lost on me that it's 2016, but it's the Cubs who come away victorious in this one.
Cueto was almost as good, 8 innings. He made the one mistake to Javy Baez that he wanted back when he was tired, but when you look at Lester out there tonight, Lester had a little bit of trouble early on. He put himself in a couple of jams. They bunted on Lester early. We wondered if that would be a case in the postseason. A lot of teams don't like to bunt on a pitcher and show him up that he can't throw it to first during the regular season. Giants had no problem trying to do it. They wanted to get a win here in Game 1. They laid down the bunts. A couple of them worked, but really some defensive plays really helped him up. David Ross carried Lester in that first inning or two, and those plays, as we find out, turned out to make a big difference in this game.
David Ross, so impressive in that first inning, especially with the plays that he made, catching Gorkis Hernandez stealing, and then also the pickoff at first. Great stuff. And then that was an impressive shift as well. And Lester doesn't even have to do anything. No case of the yips when you're not the one throwing to first base.
No, had one where the ball stuck in the glove again, just walked it over to first base. And I think my second favorite, the home run from Baez was the best moment of the game. The second favorite moment of the game was Ross throwing down to first, getting the pickoff, then looking over at the Giants dugout again, then looking back at the Cubs dugout and saying, this is the playoffs. They're bunting in the playoffs? Playoffs?
Not on my field, or as you put it, get off my lawn. Well, we have Kelly Kroll, and guess who she's with, Luke?
David Ross.
I don't mind after a win. It's always nice.
Well, David, I'm sure no one appreciates a pitcher's duel, and especially on this stage, quite like you do. Why don't you describe what you saw from Jon Lester and Johnny Cueto as well after that?
Yeah, both those guys were hitting the corners, mixing speeds. Johnny had really good sinker tonight, got some balls on the ground. Lefties put the ball on the ground a lot for him. You know, they had one threat there. I think it was a fourth, a second, third. Made good pitches to Crawford. And good defense behind us. You know, they've been doing it all year. Johnny's making pitches. Only thing I wish we could have got that leadoff guy out a little more, but we started to do that probably in the 5th on.
Until then, you mentioned the defense. Hey, you picked up 2 more tonight. That's something else, David. You really got the defense going for these guys, and that was big today, and I feel like John settling in.
I better, you know, that's what the old guy's here for. He's supposed to help out the young guys, so set a good tone early. John was throwing strikes. Again, I mean, Javy Baez, how about that guy?
Yeah, how about that guy? What did you think there in the 8th inning?
Man, that was crazy. I was going nuts. I just come out of the game for a pinch hitter and taking my stuff off and trying to regroup, and he pops out and everybody's hugging me and high-fiving me. It happened so fast. Thank God for that basket. Right?
How about that? But hey, Game 1, we talked about the importance, setting the tone in the division. How big is it to take this one here tonight? And this crowd.
Unbelievable. I got all my family here. This crowd's amazing. You got to get off. That first one's important. It's a really good team. It's not going to be an easy series, as you can tell. These guys really know how to win. They know how to play baseball. They know how to pitch. So we got our work cut out for us, but I'm glad we put on a decent show for this home crowd and got that first win.
I'd say it was more than decent for these people here tonight, David. Thank you so much. Congratulations.
They made me feel young again, so that's always nice. Good talking to you always, Kelly.
Thank you.
Who's Bochy now speaking at the podium?
Phil? No? Anybody? Phil? Yeah.
Just how good were Cueto and Lester?
Oh, both of them were outstanding. I don't know if you're going to see. Well, we saw it Wednesday night. We saw another game where it's hard to pitch better than those two guys. Johnny threw a beautiful game, and you know the guy got enough of it to leave the ballpark. But what a job he did! It's just a beautiful game he pitched, and you know we had a couple chances early. You know, but Lester was tough. I mean, he's had a tremendous year, and I thought it'd be a low-scoring game. We just couldn't quite get it done. I thought Buster's ball had a chance. It looked like the wind knocked it down. You know, that check swing, that call goes their way too. It's a different ball game. You know, from our view, it didn't look like he went. So, you know, that's a tough break for us.
To your left, Bruce.
Yeah. How difficult was it with David Ross with caught stealing and then that back pick? That was kind of an interesting play right there.
Yeah, and you know, there's nothing on there. Connor he drifted a little too far, and Ross, he made a perfect throw to get him. It was close, but he put it right on the money, and you know, Hernandez just didn't get a jump there. You know, we had nothing on, but he felt like he could make it, and Ross made a nice throw there. And you know, when you're in a game like this, you know, you have to try things, and you know, we know Lester doesn't throw over there much, but you have to get a good jump because he's pretty quick to home plate.
Phil?
Bruce, just the overall fielding, the plays Tomlinson made, and would you kind of expect these kind of games going forward in the series?
Yeah, no, I do. It was a great ball game. It was. You know, we played well, made some good defensive plays. You know, we get some guys out there early in the game, and we just couldn't get a hit to finish it off. But it was a great ball game. You know, one pitch, and as I said, Johnny, I mean, what a job he did for us. He did all he could to help win this ball game, but you got to score. And ninth inning, though, they were fighting. And you know, I thought Buster's ball had a chance there. And you know, that's a tough one. But you know, I expect these games to be like this. And you know, the guys played great. They really did.
First row.
How much did the anticipation of the low-scoring game factor into what you did early with bunting right away and testing Lester, getting on and running against Ross? I mean, you guys went right at their weaknesses right away, it seemed like. Yeah,
well, you know, that's our game. You know, we're not a team to sit back and wait for the lone ball. And, you know, they, you know, did a nice job of, you know, throwing them out in a pickoff. But you're in a game like this, you got to play your game and, you know, try to find ways to, you know, score, and you scratch and claw any way you can. But they executed well tonight, and we still, though, I thought we had some good at-bats there early. As I said, we had a couple chances there. We just couldn't get the key hit.
Just a couple last ones. Henry?
Yeah, Bruce, if the situation had been different in the top of the eighth, say you had a couple of runners on or one runner on, were you going to hit for Cueto?
Yeah, I had a guy up. Yeah, we had a chance to score there, but he felt great. He was throwing the ball very well, and you know, and what was impressive after a home run, he settled down and made great pitches. You know, just one pitch got away from him, but you know, we had Strickland up, ready to go. If we could get somebody on, with 2 outs, nobody on, the way he was throwing, the way he felt, that's why he hit.
One last one for Bruce. We'll take one last one right up here.
That's 6 games in a row now that have been decided by 1 run between these two teams. What is it about these teams that brings out these nail-biter games?
They're two good teams with good pitching that play well in defense, and you know, that's normally, I think, what you see when you have 2 teams with good pitching going at it, low-scoring games, 1-run ball games, and you know, I expect it to be the same, you know, from this point on. Tomorrow we're going to face another good one, the day after, and you scratch and claw for runs, and hopefully we find a way to win these games.
Thanks very much, Bruce.
All right.
Scratching and clawing for runs is right. Nobody better who knows how to do that than Todd Hollinsworth alongside David Kaplan. We now send it to you guys over at Wrigley Field for more Cubs postseason live, guys.
All right, thank you very much, guys. An unbelievably electric atmosphere here in the Cubs. Get it done. Holly, this was an intense ball game.
It was.
2 great starting pitching performances. And in the end, Javy Baez is the difference.
Well, Javy Baez is the difference, but you're right. You talk about that intensity, but it was created by some inactivity. I mean, isn't that how we look at it? 0-0 is up on the board all game long, kind of just waiting for that moment. Javy Baez provides it. Outstanding pitching in this ball game. No walks, 15 strikeouts between Cueto. Obviously, Jon Lester, outstanding. Wow, what a baseball game. We had a hero tonight, Cappy. We needed one, and we got one.
1-3-0. is just a little bit better than 0, 6, and 0, and Wrigley goes home happy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we were walking through the crowd making our way down from up top in that 9th inning. I mean, you could just feel the atmosphere here. Electric. Again, just hungry for a win, desperate for a hit. Javy Baez gets it done. Huge swing of the bat right there. He, to me, as I told you, he was the one guy that was just kind of like, I'm not worried about Johnny Cueto and his mechanics and what he's doing out there, all the different turns and everything, all the twisting. He wasn't worried about that. He just kind of had a nice, easy approach, got a great pitch to hit, and made something happen. He is our hero. Obviously, Jon Lester got us there. Great Cubs win in Game 1.
Jon Lester was brought here for a moment like this. He stepped up and was magnificent. Johnny Cueto, I'm listening to people where you and I were sitting. They're going, how can the Cubs not hit this guy? He was the All-Star Game starter, let's not forget.
Yeah, that's right. Johnny Cueto was really good. And again, a lot of that deception that I just talked about, Cubs hitters were scuffling with. Now, there was a middle inning there where I thought the at-bat started to really turn the corner that second time through, but we didn't really seem to build off it. Actually, Cueto got stronger, started dialing up that fastball, putting it where he needed to, mixing in his slider, turning over his changeup as well. He was in complete control tonight. We were looking, like I said, looking for a heroic moment.
How much does the fact that he varies his delivery so much, where he'll quick pitch you, he'll Louis T on you, he will give you so many different looks. How much does that affect the hitter?
I'll compare him to Jon Lester, since he is the one guy in our rotation that I talk about, varies his pitches so well. Not his mechanics, but his pitches, and he mixes it. Johnny Cueto does it a little bit differently. As you just said, Cappy, he'll do the Louis T on, right? Get that little back turn all the way back, show you nothing but the back of his head, and then he'll bring the 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He'll slide step you and bring a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He'll slide step you and throw 89. See, that's what he actually does the best. It's not that, he's up there just making stuff up there on the mound. He knows exactly what he's looking to do and how to vary his mechanics. He will quick pitch you, but it's his ability to add and subtract to what he does that complicates it. It's not when he does the Louis T that you always get 93.
All right, there were a few things in this ball game. Number one, strike zone was a little shaky. Both ways.
Couple moments.
I'm with you. You also had Buster Posey on base and forgets, it looks like, that there were 2 outs on the ball that Ben Zobrist misplayed. I cannot believe Buster Posey can't score from first on a ball that's sinking and gets by Zobrist, and he ends up third, and then the Cubs are able to get out of that inning. You had that problem. You had in the 9th inning, you ring up a guy on an appeal down to first, and then Posey doubles off the wall on a ball that a lot of people in Wrigley thought was going out to tie it. That would have tied the game because you'd have had a man on base.
It's not your best, listen, you don't want to play baseball in the game of what ifs. Great points, though. You and I were talking about it all game long. What if? What if he scores? I mean, it changes the course of the game and the way that it would look. At the end of the day, the San Francisco Giants, in all honesty, yes, they go down to the Cubs 1-0 tonight and 1-0 in the series. But as I said to you in the beginning, in the pregame, this is the game they want to play, Cap. If you give them this game, every game throughout this series, they're going to say, we'll take our chances. We know that this Cubs team is armed offensively. We know that they've got a pitching staff like our pitching staff. We know that they've got a really good bullpen with Aroldis Chapman down there in it, and they got one of the best managers in all of baseball, just like they do. But that, this Cubs team is better on paper. And I told you, if you get into the 7th and 8th inning and it's 0-0, what do you need? You need a hero. And that's what ends up happening. We came up with a heroic moment. The Giants are probably kicking themselves over a couple of those opportunities. You're absolutely right. But they're probably telling themselves, listen, we went to war with these guys. We held on. This is their ballpark. We had a shot to win this ball game, and we just didn't come through. But the bottom line is the Cubs did. And that's where you say, you know what? The bats will hopefully wake up tomorrow. We're going to take this one and hopefully get 2 tomorrow.
Yeah, the one that, look, the 9th inning, that's going to happen. The umpire rang him up. That stuff happens. Right. But the one where Posey forgot the number of outs that appeared, he took off, he stopped, he hesitated, and that's with 2 outs. You got to be running on that ball.
Absolutely.
That's a huge break.
It is, absolutely. I mean, you take it for what it is. It changes the course of the game. That would have been a lead. We don't know what, again, how this game would have ultimately played itself out. But again, the Giants would have been in the driver's seat. Johnny Cueto was getting stronger, Cappy. We were just talking about that. It was just after the 3 strikeout inning that he had. So, I mean, there are things in play. I mean, certainly things that you have to recognize. They can pitch over there. Johnny Cueto is one of the best in the game, and he brought it tonight. And when the margin's this small, little things matter. Good thing we weren't on the other end of it. There were some great defensive plays from both teams tonight in this ball game that they kept this thing knotted. How about the fact that neither pitcher tonight, and oh, by the way, Johnny Cueto had a complete game. The only other pitcher we saw was Aroldis Chapman. No walks in this game.
Correct. You had, between the two guys, 15 strikeouts.
15 punch-outs and no walks.
0 walks. Really good play at second base on a hard-hit ball by Zobrist that would have given the Cubs a run. So there were plays made on both sides that were really key in this ball game.
Well, I go back to the beginning of the ball game, and David Ross reminded us how good he is behind the plate and probably why he shouldn't be retiring quite yet, because he's still a tremendous defensive catcher. We got to see the cannon shut down the running game in the first inning, throws out a guy, picks off a guy in the second inning. I mean, those things matter. I mean, we talked about how Jon Lester, how good he was. We look at the bottom line. He did make some fires for himself at the beginning of this ball game. I went through it with you. We were talking about leadoff runner, leadoff runner, leadoff runner. Now eliminated, and got around the leadoff runner. That's what you want to see. And when you look at the final line, he's done this all season long. Pitched himself maybe into a little bit of trouble, but a lot of times out of it. He still kind of was right there. I mean, if you look at the Giants in those first 4 innings, they had hits at the front end of those innings. They just couldn't make anything happen. Part of that was the Cubs' defense.
Right, and then he went on a run of, I think it was 14 in a row, consecutive guys that he set down. Boy, did he get locked in.
Well, and that's exactly what you want to see. He got stronger. You don't look at it as if things are going my way tonight. You say, all right, you know what? I got zeros up there. I'm going to get even more locked in. And he started dialing up that fastball, wearing out that outside corner. I thought there was a couple moments tonight where Jon Lester could have probably gotten real frustrated with the home plate umpire, maybe a little testy. Didn't get a couple pitches, didn't let it bother him too much, just kind of tried to make the better pitch, and I thought that was real impressive. You didn't see him miss out over the plate and start to make mistakes. You just kind of watched him move that fastball in about a couple, 2-3 inches and start dialing up that outside corner again.
By the way, partner, I don't know where they put our blue fist.
What in the world?
We'll take care of that. So Cubs get it done. That's our ritual. Cubs win 1-0 and now have a 1-0 lead in the series. Kyle Hendricks will go to the bump tomorrow against former Cub and big money signee for the Giants this past offseason, Jeff Samardzija. So that's going to be a real interesting game to watch tomorrow night.
Well, I think both teams are probably telling themselves they want to do a little bit more offensively. I mean, the Baez home run, huge moment in this ball game. Cubs offense, as I said, I would love to have seen them start to roll. Not so much tonight, but again, the big moment, you walk out of here with a win, and that's probably what you tell yourself. We did not swing the bats maybe the way we wanted to tonight. Probably going to give a lot of credit to Johnny Cueto. But with that being said, you want to get the guys going. Remember, we said the magic number is 11. That's 11 wins over essentially 3 series. So we got to get some guys going and get some bats going. You want to get some confidence and get some rhythm up there. This is game 1, not a whole lot yet, but hopefully we'll see a little bit more tomorrow.
I would think, though, to get the victory, knowing that you did not swing the bats especially well. And
absolutely.
Again, tipping your cap to the guy in the other dugout who was outstanding, Johnny Cueto. And again, Johnny Cueto wasn't like their number 5 starter. This guy's elite.
Yes.
Other than Bumgarner, he's their ace. Started the All-Star game. The guy knows what he's doing. This relaxes you now. Guys, we didn't swing the bats, but we've got a 1-0 series.
Well, and again, that's what they've done all season long. I told you, when you look at this Cubs team and you try to make sense of 103 wins, everything does. I know 103 in most people's minds adds up. Well, that's a great season. That's like on a perfect in a baseball conversation. It's not really. When you realize that you're going to have ups and downs. Good teams pick each other up, and I guess that's the point. When the bullpen struggled a little bit this year, the offense was picking them up. When the starting pitching had that little bit of moment there in the second half, the offense maybe started to pick it up a little bit better. I mean, this team does that, and you go back to last year, they're good at doing that. Tonight, Jon Lester, all he needed was a run. We waited a long time to get it, but we got it.
Well, he got the 1 run when Javy Baez delivered. Javy had another hit down the right field line. Javy played very well over at second base.
Yes.
And there was the big question. Do you put Javy at third? Do you put Javy at second? Do you put Bryant in left or leave him at third? And when Zobrist misplayed the ball in the outfield, Lester was able to pitch around it. But there were people saying, you should have had Baez at third, Bryant in the outfield, Zobrist at second.
Right.
Everything worked out.
Well, it did. It worked out. And a lot of times, listen, I mean, you're playing some numbers and you're playing percentages. And, the idea is to get Javy Baez in the way of as many ground balls and pop-ups as you possibly can, and that's what they were ultimately trying to do right there. In my mind, as I said to you, I just like Chris Bryant. He's an incredible outfielder. I really watched him develop this year, and he's good. This isn't a knock on Ben Zobrist. It's that Chris Bryant's gotten better.
Okay, it's time for our Clear Choice Dental play of the game. Without a doubt, You know what it is. It's Javy Baez's one swing of the bat that gave the Cubs a 1-0 victory. Take us through that. When Javy gets that home run, you could see everyone in Wrigley almost suspended in midair because
oh my goodness,
it was
I
so
would love
close
to do it.
to
Okay.
being caught, and it just made the bat.
Well, let me talk about the Javy Baez at bat, a little bit, just first, because I think it's important to talk about. He's the one guy really in this lineup that I felt like was not stressed out. He never at one time gave me the thought that he was confused or bothered by Johnny Cueto's mechanics. His Louis Tiant, rotation, any of those things, they just did not seem to bother him tonight. He was taking it pitch by pitch and going for it, just kind of letting himself relax. And so he got himself to the 3-2 pitch, got a great swing, and obviously the home run. But to your point, we were upstairs in the second deck. Incredible moment for me personally, just because when the ball was hit, there was this almost awkward silence in Wrigley Field, as if 40,000 people just stopped. They knew it was kind of hit well enough, right? But they weren't convinced, and everybody just buttoned their lips for like a second time. And I honestly, I felt it. And then as soon as the ball travels over, hits the hit in the basket, I mean, this place, the whole building was shaking. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible moment for me. I will talk about it till, honestly, as many days as I've got on this green earth. It was an incredible moment. Great to be a part of. I just could not believe for that 1 second in time, it was almost like time stopped, Cappy. Everybody was just like,
it was. That
and
ball,
it just, boom.
You and I
as
are
soon as
down.
it hit, right.
We're down the left field line, and that ball's flying by us, and you think, oh, I think he might be able to catch that. It's going to just come up short, and all of a sudden, it just gets in the basket, and then everything erupts.
Every conversation in the stands seemed to stop. Everybody, whatever everybody was doing, they just stopped for 1 second. I mean, it was one of the most amazing, almost surreal moments I've ever seen in a baseball stadium. Obviously, a lot of them were on the field, but that was incredible from my perspective.
I just saw Joe Maddon head over. Now he's headed to the press room on the first base side with Peter Chase, their media relations director. We'll have Joe for you in a second. Real quick look at the Wrigleyville Sports winning box score, and this one belongs to the Cubs. Chris Bryant got the first hit for the Cubs tonight, a double, and he could not be brought home. There were some really nice defensive plays by the Giants.
There definitely was. As we said all along, we talked about it a little bit in the pregame show. This Giants team's a good defensive team, much like our Cubs team. They can play defense. They can go get some balls. Think about the catch in center field by Hernandez. Incredible catch he had. There were some really good defensive plays as well on the infield by these guys. Tollison over at second base had a great one on a Zobrist one. You go back to that fourth inning, and sometimes things happen this way where the rhythm starts to happen. You hit 3 out of 4 balls hard by the top of the lineup, and you kind of expect it to pick right back up again. But at times when you don't get that end result as a hitter, you start to become a little deflated. Like, I really hit that ball well. I should have got a hit for it, and you get robbed. It takes a little bit out of you. It's a challenge to kind of get back in the box again and go up there and battle again and try to hit it as hard as you did the last time. I thought there were some good at-bats in the middle innings. Obviously, Baez's bat was the big one tonight. Hopefully they'll get the boys rolling and get some hits tomorrow night against Sharkey.
Yeah, and Baez 2 hits tonight.
Yeah,
played very well at second.
Right.
All right, brought to you by Xfinity. Here's Joe Maddon. Take a listen.
About the home run, but all year you've talked about defense to the point of where it seems like you've harped on it, but you really can't say enough about defense, can you? Especially the way this game played tonight.
No, not at all. I mean, we obviously right from the get-go, the bunt, and then we throw a runner out at second base, and eventually the pickoff at first base. Javy up the middle. Their defense was fabulous tonight. Their second baseman had a hell of a night. Both sides really played an equal kind of a game. Cueto was outstanding. Jon Lester was outstanding. Defenses played. It was a classic kind of an old school baseball game. Obviously, you'd like to win those things, but give both teams credit. That was really a well-played game of baseball.
Other questions? Right behind you, Bruce.
Right behind you.
There you go.
Jon Lester, I mean, just from, you had those first innings, you get the first guys getting hits that you guys cleaned up, but besides that, I mean, I think he retired 10, 12, 13, 14 in a row there.
Yeah. But he looked good. Even the couple hits, the push bunt was a good play on their part, really well done. Gillespie, the one into short right field, and a couple dumpers in the left. So I think for the entire evening, he was actually throwing the ball really well, but he's really good at cleaning it up. Other teams get base runners. I spoke about that to somebody, I think, before the game, or maybe during the game itself. ERA's as good as it is because he really does do well with people on base. I know that's been, everybody's wanting to run on him and do these different things, but you get out there and Jon does a nice job. Didn't surprise me. I thought he was really calm in his demeanor tonight. I thought he looked very comfortable out there. And, of course, him and David, the synergy between them is incredible. So all that stuff was obvious or apparent tonight. But so was their guy. I mean, Cueto was really good. It was a very interesting game. Obviously, we're happy we won. And, you know, there's a classic example of how big Wrigley Field can play, because Javy absolutely crushed that ball, and it barely made it into the basket. And then furthermore, probably Posey's ball would have been out on a more neutral night. So that just really depicts how big this ballpark can play.
Standing in the back, George.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
Homers have played such a big role already in these playoffs. As this game was progressing, did you get a sense that a homer might win it? And can you talk about Javy hitting it?
Yeah, I didn't think too many runs. It was hard to manufacture because both pitchers were doing so well. There just wasn't enough base runners. There was not a whole lot of hard contact. We hit a couple balls decently. So normally, yeah, I mean, I can't deny. I wasn't thinking that, but you're right. More than likely, a game like that would end with a home run. Unfortunately, again, it happened for us. But my thoughts weren't there. It was just, you know, really staying with the bullpen. How's Johnny looking? Where's his spot coming up in the batting order? What are they going to do? I mean, those are the kind of, that's where my focus was. I'm sorry? Yeah, I mean, he's got plenty of power. When he gets enough opportunity, meaning enough at-bats, he's definitely a 20-plus home run guy. But I love the base hit to right field, actually. That really, I don't think it's any coincidence that he ended up hitting a home run, because what he had done in his earlier at-bats. He was up there working good at-bats. He wasn't trying to do too much. Even the home run, I mean, it was his A-hack, but it was in an area that he can do that with, so he didn't try to force something. I love when he's using middle opposite field, because I think when he does, you're going to see more opportunities for the ball to fly far to the left side.
Let's take 2 or 3 more. Standing
Joe,
to your left.
Was Chapman pitching the 9th regardless?
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Were you prepared to bring him in sooner? Or?
Yes, we were. The way that inning was playing out, it was 7, 8, 9 coming up. I think it was 7. Tomlinson, Gillespie, Cueto. Now, had they gotten somebody on, they definitely would have hit for Cueto right there, but they did not, so they let him hit. I was pretty much had Chapman belt in mind if it got to that particular point. Although if they got something a little bit more friskier, we could have gone to him earlier. So he was absolutely ready.
We'll do 3 quick ones.
Yes,
Joe, that sequence in the 4th, where we even didn't cover this, when the only time they really threatened and Lester got the ground ball to Addison.
Right.
The confidence and the lift that gave you as a team, and then if you just as a follow-up, did you get any clarification ever on the switching of the gloves from the?
Yeah, well, I talked to them before the game. Randy Marsh came up to me, and it's clearly ambiguous regarding the glove. There's no such rule, but it's just an interpretation on their part. This is what they'd like to see. I have no problem with it. It's the semantics involving a first baseman's glove and the first baseman having a first baseman's glove. I still will argue the point that even though Rizzo's playing there, he's still the first baseman. So it comes down to proximity to first base. Again, it's a semantical argument. Probably some lawyers put this whole thing together. But for me, we're happy to change gloves. It just takes a little bit longer.
The sequence in the 4th, with the lift they gave you to get out of that game.
With the ground ball. Yeah, I mean, well, after the fly ball that landed in front of, yeah. That's what I was talking about. John does not lose focus in those moments, and David does a wonderful job of calling the correct pitch in that moment. So it didn't surprise. We've done that a lot this year. I loved the pickoff at first base also. I thought, give David a lot of credit. The throw out at second, and then the throw to first, and the great tag once again by Javy at first on the pick. Those are all really pertinent plays tonight.
We'll do the last one with Phil.
Yeah.
Joe, not many hitters have good numbers against Chapman, but Posey does.
Yeah, he does.
Then, is that something you just kind of have to ignore because Chapman's your closer, and if that comes up again, you just let him challenge each other?
It just depends. Right there, I mean, you know, it's funny, though, when a hitter has good numbers against you, probably are throwing bad pitches. I mean, that was just a hanging breaking ball. Had it been a better pitch, it might have been a better result for us. But you're right. I mean, he has done well against Araldis. It'll depend on what's going on in the game and the situation, bases, score, etc. But under those circumstances, absolutely you want him to go after him.
Thanks, Joe. We'll bring Javy up here.
Okay. Socio, follow.
All right. Hey, we're back on TV, buddy.
Stop it,
we
man.
found
What's
our
wrong?
blue fist deal, so we're ready to go. Cubs win here tonight, 1-0. You just heard Joe Maddon, and I was interested in, he was talking that he loved the home run. Obviously, it won the ballgame, but he liked the base hit by Baez going the other way against Johnny Cueto.
Well, I mean, you think back to Baez in really, his story over his career, and for one of probably the biggest games of his life when you think about defining moments, and obviously the biggest hit that he comes through with that home run. It is amazing, as I mentioned to you, how calm, cool, and collected he looked.
Let's go back to the podium. Here's Javy Baez.
Other questions? In the second row here, Axel.
Javi, you've kind of sacrificed a little power this year. I mean, you changed up your hitting mechanics a little bit. How much power, when you go up there, do you still feel like you can do that pretty much anytime you get a pitch to hit?
Yeah. I mean, I got a little power, but it's not about that. It's about playing as a team and obviously doing the little things that we need to do and obviously try to win 10 more games.
Jeff.
Did you say you were thinking of bunting?
I really was. With Cueto, that timing that he does, that quick pitch, it's hard to get the timing down. And, obviously, trying to get on base, I knew somebody was going to hit for Rossi and Les. So hopefully with those ABs, I could get on base and score it.
To your left, Javy.
Javi, when you hit that, did you know it was getting out? Joe was talking about the wind. Like on a different night, it would have gone well out, and it ended up just getting in the basket. Did you know it was going out?
I was so focused on that AB that I completely forgot about the wind, and I thought I hit it really good. I thought it was way farther than that, but when I saw him jump, I was like, no way that ball didn't stay in, and it barely went out, but I still take it. Didn't mean to show anybody off, obviously, but it was a big hit for us.
Phil?
Javy, what, as well as you guys play defense, what was your take on how San Francisco played it tonight? And do you think, the series you guys have had, a lot of one-run games, do you think this will be sort of the case for the rest of the series going forward, tough, low-scoring games?
Well, San Francisco is a team that and I said it yesterday, that they score a run in no time. They with two bases, I think they score a run and you don't even know it. But obviously with the game that Lester had, and obviously Cueto too, we did a great job playing deep for Les, and he hit his spots.
Do 3 more, Mark.
A lot of you guys said yesterday that you benefited from the experience of going through the playoffs last year. In a tight game like this, you guys seem to play pretty calmly. Do you think it showed up tonight, just the way you guys were able to grind it out in a close game?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the game of baseball is 27 outs. Because we haven't scored a run in the 8, doesn't mean, obviously we're going to give up. We're just going to keep working and working till we get a run or the win.
All right, there you go. Tonight's star, Javier, one of them, Javy Baez with the home run that gives the Cubs a 1-0 victory here over the Giants and a 1-0 lead here in the National League Division Series. We'll come back. You got to hear from Jon Lester. Got a whole lot more to do. We'll be with you for quite a while tonight. It's a happy night in Wrigleyville as the Cubs have a 1-0 series lead. You're watching Blue Cross Blue Shield. Cubs Postgame Live.
Cubs Postgame Live is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. Through it all.
If you feel like singing a song and you want other people to sing along, just sing what you feel. Don't let anyone say it's wrong. When there's a light, what light? There's a light. What light? There's a light. White light.
Pat Hughes reporting from Wrigleyville Sports, where the excitement is building. Devin is getting a new home white jersey customized while he waits. He'll be ready for game action in no time. Ashley is having fun taking selfies in her new Cubs t-shirt. Fits like a glove. Colin is testing out a new bat. Get out the tape measure, long gone. Across the street from Wrigley Field, Wrigleyville Sports is your one-stop shop for everything Cubs. Open 7 days a week or anytime at WrigleyvilleSports.com.
Meeting people is my life. I was embarrassed to show my teeth. It was time to do something that was going to be permanent.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
We have expertise that you might not find anywhere else, all in one location.
The next day, I had a new smile. Couldn't wait to show some folks.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I had the best smile I'd ever had in my life.
Call Clear Choice today.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. This is the pursuit of perfection.
All right, our four-season heating, air conditioning, and plumbing. Who's hot and who's not this postseason? Josh Donaldson of the Jays rolling 3 games, 6 for 13, 3 doubles, 2 RBIs. Who's not? Red Sox in an 0-2 hole to the Indians. Jackie Bradley Jr. not doing his part. 2 games, 0 for 6, 5 Ks. Not good. All right, let's hear from Chris Bryant for a moment at the podium.
Yeah, it seems, I guess early on in the postseason, watching every game, it's like every game's won by a home run, and today was no different. I mean, that was probably one of the best games I've been a part of. It was just a lot of fun, a lot of energy. I mean, obviously Jon did unbelievable, and their guy Cueto did unbelievable too. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of, my heart's still kind of beating a little quick here. It's a lot of fun.
One win doesn't wrap up any series, but how important to get the first one?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, we're at home in front of our fans. We want to kind of get off to a good start. So yeah, it's huge. I mean, they're a tough team over there. We know, who they got coming next. Their pitching staff's awesome. So yeah, 10 more wins.
As Chris Bryant just said, 10 more wins. He got the first hit. Cueto was locked in, came up with the double, and then Chris couldn't score because of the ground ball. That was a really nice play at second that Zobrist hit. But Chris Bryant said, we got the win, 10 more.
Well, and that's, I mean, again, Cappy, I mean, there's a million things that you take out of this. I've told you, you don't worry so much about the process any longer. We talk about it all season long, 162 games, guys' ups and downs and streaks and records and everything else that happens. Chris Bryant hits the nail on the head. You get to this point of the season, it's all about the win.
Let me just paint a picture for everybody. As we're looking over here, Javy Baez just came from the press room. He walked into the dugout, and as he walked with Jesse Rogers, he turned to him and he just went, yes! You could see the emotion, how excited this kid is. Some of the veteran players, Jon Lester walked in, kind of nodded, and he goes, you look at Javy, and he is just bouncing off the wall. It's cool to see.
It's a huge moment. It's a huge moment for a young player. I mean, we talk about, arriving and how you belong and what you look to prove. And how many people, fans asked us tonight, is Javy Baez playing every day next year? Like, we talk about the progression and what's next for him. Big moments like this help. I mean, this is, these are confidence builders. Not that Javy Baez is ever short on confidence, but I'll tell you, you look at what he's done. I think back to, even earlier this season, talking about sometimes that swing getting a little too wild again, and then he would find it again and he would calm back down. The one moment I kept having when Baez kept coming up tonight was he's not fazed by Johnny Cueto's mechanics. He's just not falling victim to it. He's calm. He's got his front foot in stride. I said, he's going to do something big tonight. I just kept thinking there's going to be a big at bat. And then he had the base hit the other way, which I thought that was so impressive because he stayed inside the baseball. And then he has a good at bat. His last at bat against Cueto works to a 3-2 count, gets a pitch he can handle, and has the biggest hit of the ball game. I mean, you start earning these moments. Then you start to expect yourself to come through in these moments. you're watching a young man grow up right now. I think it's a pretty cool thing.
It's a really cool thing. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. A lot more to do. Jon Lester is going to go to the podium, and you will hear him right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Be right back. Postseason Live, brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois.
You know the feeling. The rush of every roll, every flip, sip, bite, note, and night. You know the feeling. Get it at Ameristar.
In Chicago, some things just go together, like front porches and blue W's, bricks and ivy, Waveland Avenue and souvenirs, Jake and State Farm. Like home and auto insurance with State Farm, they just go together, and they save you time and money. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Look at it, lads. New York City. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, it does. With Grubhub, you can get the best foods delivered anywhere.
Gluten-free pad thai here for Seamus.
I am Seamus.
Gluten-free?
Yeah. Can't even taste the difference. Oh, you gotta lock up that front tire.
Official Cubs MasterCard debit card, available only at your local Wintrust Community Bank. Go to wintrust.com/Cubs to learn more. Member FDIC. All right, time for our Ameristar Casinos pitching recap, and you had two aces dueling. Johnny Cueto started the All-Star game for the National League. Jon Lester, who's won 2 World Series, won 19 games. And these two were locked in.
Pretty impressive performance from both these guys tonight, and we're gonna, I'm hoping we don't see him again, but the way that both of these guys pitched, Cueto, outstanding performance. The one thing that again stands out, no walks, 15 strikeouts between the two of them. Obviously, Cueto goes CG, gives it the one mistake to Baez. Jon making pitch after pitch after pitch. If you're watching at home and you watch this ball game and you feel the intensity of the scoreless ball game and how each one of these pitches goes, sometimes you can take a stopwatch and time the time between each pitch. During the postseason, it gets a little bit longer. You watch these games, and I tell you about it all the time. It tells you that there's a thought and there's a drive behind every pitch. And who didn't feel that in this building tonight? That even in a scoreless ball game for 8 innings, that this was like every pitch mattered, and neither guy wanted to bend and make a mistake. There was never that just, I fell behind and I'm going to challenge him with something right out over the middle of the plate. There was none of that tonight. That is playoff baseball. That's playoff pitching right there. And you saw two guys who have had great careers go after each other. And boy, oh boy, was it fun to watch.
All right, let's hear from Addison Russell, Cubs shortstop.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. You see him nice, and he's very energetic out there on the mound. And it's my second year playing behind him, and he's just awesome to play behind. He was a dog tonight. He came just right at people, and I did a great job tonight. Rossi with a few back picks as well. So that combo right there with those two guys, I think it's pretty hard.
But that says so much about your team. You guys have his back. Like, the bunt happens right away, no problem. No matter what happened all night, you guys seem to work as a unit, and whatever he's going through, you guys seem to have his back.
Absolutely. It's just coming down to just executing the play, and I think that we did that tonight.
You expected this kind of a series throughout with this Giants team, good pitching, great defense?
Absolutely. That ball club over there is very, very good. They can come back at any time in the ball game, so tip my hat to them. Johnny, lights out tonight.
All right, got to take a timeout. When we come back, you will hear from Cubs starting pitcher Jon Lester. He is coming up next from the press room right here on Cubs Postseason Live on Comcast Sports.
Tomorrow night on CSN, Western Powers hit the ice in St. Louis as your Hawks look to throw their weight around against the Blues. Don't miss this primetime matchup. Blackhawks at Blues, live from St. Louis, starting at 7 on CSN Chicago.
If you call Chicago home, you know there's only one way to eat a hot dog. We have 2 baseball teams, but you have to choose one. And there's only one way true Chicagoans pay. Wintrust. Bring it home, Chicago.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
Now playing on DirecTV Cinema.
Hey, Dad. I made it here. Mom was right. It's perfect. Tide's rising. 40 yards.
The Shallows. Movie start at Channel 125.
A message from the Sentinel Group. For decades, many Americans working in the trades were exposed to environmental hazards without their knowledge. While the dangers of one such airborne threat, asbestos, have long been known, efforts were made to hide the risks from the public. The result is thousands of cases of asbestos-induced mesothelioma each year. Act now, don't wait. Call right now.
Please call 800-378-1093.
All of us at CSN Chicago would like to send our support to our friends and out-of-market satellite viewers in the state of Florida and all along the Atlantic coast who have been affected by the recent devastation caused by Hurricane Matthew. We are by your side and we are thinking of you. To support people affected by this disaster, we urge you to visit redcross.org, call 1-800-RED-CROSS or text the word Red Cross to 90999 and make a $10 donation. Your support is certainly needed and greatly appreciated. All right, our UPS store taking care of business player of the game. We are going to give that honor to Jon Lester. 8 outstanding innings of work, did not allow a run. Holly, again, I asked you this earlier, $156 million contract for moments like this and to be a leader. He led tonight.
Well, and I think that, Jon Lester, regardless of the money and the contract, we knew he was a big game pitcher when he got here. It all adds up. I don't know if expectations of people think that way or believe that way. The bottom line is if you get to know Jon and watch him, he puts more pressure on himself to perform in games like this than I think any person in Wrigley Field tonight. He went out there, he made pitches. A little bit of action early in the ballgame, but the key was, to your point, he finished strong. He got better. I mean, we didn't have to go theoretically go to a Aroldis Chapman there in the ninth. I mean, he honestly had enough bullets left to probably go another 2 innings. That's how good he was tonight. Man, that two-seam fastball on the outside part of the plate, he continued to dial it up. He certainly took advantage. Like, listen, this is a team we talked about, the Giants. They don't have a tremendous amount of power in that lineup. And again, if you're going to get beat, where are you going to get burned? You're going to get burned away, maybe on a base hit that way. You don't challenge guys, particular individuals on the inside part of the plate, to see if they can hit you out. You put them away, especially when the temperatures drop here at Wrigley Field. And like he did, he attacked the outside part of the plate. The majority of right-handed hitters controlled the lefties and just made pitches again tonight. Fastballs away, cutters in on the righties, and just the opposite against those lefties. You saw it all night long, and nobody got him out of rhythm.
All right, now let's hear from our UPS store taking care of business player of the game. Here's Jon Lester with the media.
Oh, right in the center, Jon.
Jon, you waited a long year to get back to the playoffs and pitch like that. Can you just talk a little bit about going out and pitching a game like you did?
That was a fun game. Fun atmosphere, from really just driving in this afternoon, coming to the ballpark and seeing all the people on Clark and all that stuff. So, it was my first playoff game with the Cubs at home, so that was pretty cool experience. Great baseball game. Really a lot to say about it, but not a lot to say about it. You know what I mean? Like, Cueto threw the heck out of the ball tonight. I kind of figured as we got going, it would come down to one mistake, and luckily we didn't make one, and they did, and I think that's just kind of the beginning of this series. I think we're gonna be in for it, and it's gonna be a grind, and we'll show up tomorrow and try to do it again.
To your left, John.
John, when you come here and you've got Dave, kind of bring David here with you, is this kind of what you were thinking about? These kind of nights, a tight game like that, the way he can throw the ball.
No, I like the non-tight games actually. Personally, that'd be a lot better. But yeah, just the atmosphere. Like that's what makes it fun for us. As players, you show up, you grind it out. It's a long season, and these fans have been, since I've been here, they've been here since day one. It's been unbelievable to kind of grow with them as we've gone through this journey the last 2 years. So the atmosphere tonight was unbelievable from, like I said, from the time I stepped on the field to the end of the game. This a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, this is what you play for. It's October. But that's just one step right now that we got past, and we got to worry about step 2 tomorrow. And they got a good guy going, and we got a really good guy going as well. So it should be another fun game.
Front row.
John, a lot's been made of how good the defense has been this year, and a lot's also been made of your struggles on defense. But tonight, you seem to be more comfortable and make the plays, throw the ball. I mean, were you? Was it a matter of not thinking about it, or you didn't seem to have those hiccups out there tonight?
I mean, if the ball's hit at me, I just try to catch it. I mean, that's kind of more self-defense than anything. Once again, I got to apparently talk to Nike about my gloves. I got another ball in a weird spot. I feel like I take pretty good care of my gloves, but if the ball's hit at me, I try to make a play, and then if it's not, I let the defense handle the rest.
Standing to your left, John.
John, that sequence in the fourth when they threatened, they had second and third with 2 outs, and you get the ground at short. Addison said it was a boost to the team. When you get that out, and Joe said you really bore down there. When you get that out, what does it do for your confidence and also for the group?
Well, I think, you have something, Zoe's trying his butt off out there to make a great play on a kind of sinking line drive, and the ball gets by him. It ends up being second or third as opposed to just being first and second. If he kind of lays up, he plays it on a hop. And as a pitcher, I'll never fault a guy for busting his butt trying to make a play. So second and third, really the good thing is that I think it was the bottom of the order a little bit. So we had the bottom of the order, we had a base open, 2 outs. You're 1 pitch away from getting out of it. So just try to bear down and make a pitch, and we were fortunate enough to do that and get a ground ball to short. Addy makes a great play. But yeah, that's anytime something happens as far as your defense trying to make a great play, or even if they make an error, as a pitcher, you want to pick them up. You want to help them out, because more times than not, they're saving our butts when it comes to, plays, diving plays or whatever. So when we have a chance to pick those guys up, it makes us feel a lot better.
Bruce?
Yes, John, we talk with Joe every day, or he talks with us about defense and how important it is. With what you and David did today, Javy and others, can you really stress it too much, especially in playoff situations where one good play might make the difference in a game?
No, you can't. I mean, defense, it's kind of like football. Defense wins championships. The quarterback gets all the glory, but at the end of the day, you're allowing a bunch of points. It doesn't really matter. Our defense has been unbelievable all year with guys bouncing around different positions. You got Javy playing second tonight, which, was kind of different for me. I'm used to seeing him at third and KB in left. So Joe does it again. You know what I mean? It's crazy, and that's a testament to our guys, though, too. They go to different positions. They don't complain about it. KB came up as a third baseman, and look what he's done. He's played first. He's played left. He's played, I think, center. So these guys don't complain. They know it's for the greater good of the team, and they go and play different positions. And, it seems to always kind of pay off for us. And I think it makes those guys better, too. It makes our team obviously better, but I think it makes them better just being versatile and giving us different looks, different lineup matchups and all that stuff.
All right, so John was talking about having guys play so many different positions makes everyone so much more versatile, and they're able to do different things, whether that is Javy, you're going to play second tonight. Javy, you're going to play third. Chris, you're going to play left. So Ben, you're going to go out to the outfield. So many different things they're able to do is a testament to the depth that Theo and Jed have put with this team, and Joe's willingness to use guys like that.
Well, not only that, but the players' willingness to embrace those those challenges that are in front of them. Not every group is willing to do that. Joe certainly puts that message out there, challenges his guys this way. I mean, when I hear them now say that I'm motivated by the opportunity to play a different position, it kind of excites me. It keeps the fire moving, gives me a different perspective of the game of baseball. All of those things are very important. That's exactly what Joe Maddon preaches. People need to realize that. Baseball players, we talk about conformity and doing things routinely over and over and over again. That's not always a good thing. We usually talk that way when we're talking about the good. How do you get yourself out of that when it's bad? Well, Joe has now created perspective for a few of the different players on this team that have that, the ability to play multiple positions. When you're struggling offensively, go from second base to the outfield and have a new perspective of the game. A lot of times that will work, and that's the change that Joe is looking to make and gives to these players. I really do feel that's what has helped this team keep their edge all season long, particularly offensively, and keep most of these guys from really, tail spinning badly. Most guys haven't struggled at all like that this year.
One other thing, I thought the crowd was really good tonight. They got on Johnny Cueto, and even though there was not a lot of traffic on the bases early, it was a 0-0 ball game. Sometimes in the middle of the season, you can kind of just sit there and watch and go, what's going on here? Let's get something going. Right. This crowd came ready. Well, I thought they deserve a lot of credit.
They do, and they were waiting for something to happen. The unfortunate part, was that there wasn't a whole lot to get after. I mean, they even got excited for a lot of the strikeouts, Jon Lester strikeouts. There were 5 of them in this ball game, but they were waiting for something to happen. They were hungry. We just had to wait for the moment. And you could tell. A lot of people were standing up all game long, waiting for that big hit, that big moment. We didn't have a whole lot of base runners, Cap. It's really what it came down to was Jon Lester was keeping us in a ball game and giving us an opportunity to win with one swing of the bat. And unfortunately, we got the guy up there that was going to do it.
Yeah, I would think the Giants have got to feel like we had our shot and we didn't get it done.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We'll see what happens tomorrow. Hendricks and Samardzija. We'll be right back. A little bit more to do. And then don't forget, we'll have pre-post again tomorrow. Cubs and Giants tomorrow night here at Wrigley.
Combining home and auto can save you big. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
Experience the thrill of the Lexus Performance line. Because the ultimate expression of power is control. This is the pursuit of perfection.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
Hello?
What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm?
Are you serious? Not khakis. What are you wearing?
For fastballs, call me. For saving time and money, call State Farm.
You sound hideous.
All right, welcome back in here to Wrigley Field on our Blue Cross Blue Shield Cubs postseason live. Time for our Keys recap brought to you by BCBS. Here's Holly.
Offensive outburst. That was key number 1. I'm going to leave that alone and move on. We did not get the offense.
They're laughing at you in the crew, back with the crew. They're like, offensive outburst.
Right, that's exactly right. Love to see the bats wake up quick. Cueto's
Jeff Nelson.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Nelly. We did not get the offensive outburst. We did get the big swing of the bat. You know what? Fastball, command, strike one. I talked about that an awful lot. You did see that from Jon Lester. I did go 1 for 3. It still added up to a nice victory. Jon Lester was all about it. Now, the 2 starts he had had during the course of the season against the San Francisco Giants. The first one not so good in San Francisco. The second one really good. Fastball command early in the counts. Strike one. Great in his complete game against the San Francisco Giants. Again, did that tonight. Was out in front throwing strike after strike after strike. Important part of going up against this Giants lineup is to make these guys, if you can get ahead of them, stay ahead of them, and he did that all night long. The bullpen advantage, well, Aroldis Chapman saved the game. I mean, there wasn't anything else.
Got a little harrowing
right? Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, listen, I think we all took a note on Buster Posey, who turned around a 100-mile-an-hour fastball and hit it off the left center field wall. Let's put that in the memory banks and keep that for later, because he looks like he's swinging the bat.
Throw him a slider.
Well, I guess kind of my point, right? Other than that, I mean, Aroldis Chapman did his job. I mean, third key was bullpen advantage. I guess we had it because we had Chapman in there late, but there wasn't a whole lot of bullpen to talk about.
All right, let's hear from David Ross, one of tonight's heroes. He's in the locker room.
The young guys do that late.
I'm sorry. I'm like...
I mean, this guy, just one of the many. It's a different guy every night, and you see that, and it's nice just for that to come true in the playoffs. It's not always got to be the MVP candidates. It sometimes can be the guys that don't play every day, and Javy's been a superstar for us all year. For people that have been watching, he's been doing a really good job.
You've played in so many of these games, big games. As you're going through the process, do you know in your mind there's going to be one mistake here, and that might be the ball game?
But that's just playoff baseball. That's classic playoff baseball in the National League right there. I mean, it's going to be good pitching. We knew that coming in. That's a really good team. We know they're good, and we got a lot of work still left to do. I mean, it's a quality team over there with quality pitching and quality at bats, and so we knew coming in that you're going to have to pitch well and play well, and usually it's the team with the least amount of mistakes. You're right, that win the ball game.
All right, got to take another timeout, and then we'll wrap it up and get you ready for Game 2 tomorrow. The Cubs and the Giants, a 1-0 series lead after a 1-0 victory here tonight at Wrigley Field. Be right back.
When you visit Canals BMW, your toughest decision is which BMW will you drive home? A sporty BMW convertible? BMW sedan? BMW coupe? Or one of these BMW high-performance luxury models? And of course, everybody can get into one of these beauties. Canals BMW. Outstanding selection, competitive pricing, always a great decision.
Did you just see that? That was awesome. We have to try it. Okay. Okay, mine's not working. Maybe you have to bump it. Oh, yeah, do the bump it thing. Right. Okay. Yeah.
You can take money out using the BMO Harris app.
You want to buy a hairless cat? There's a pet store down the street.
Cool.
I think she said BMO Harris app. Yeah, that makes more sense.
When your phone is your debit card, that's the BMO effect. BMO Harris Bank. We're here to help.
In Chicago, some things just go together, like front porches and blue W's, bricks and ivy, Waveland Avenue and souvenirs, Jake and State Farm. Like home and auto insurance with State Farm, they just go together, and they save you time and money. Just another way we're here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today.
It's Arlington Acura during our sales spooktacular. You better hurry to beat the rush.
Right now at Arlington Acura, get 0% APR for 60 months on new Acuras with great trade-in values.
Be sure to see us before you buy.
Bob Rohrman.
Bob Rohrman's Arlington Acura in Palatine, just west of Route 53 on Dundee Road.
All right, welcome back on Cubs Postseason Live. Tomorrow, Game 2 will be Kyle Hendricks, who led the major leagues in ERA this year. He'll go up against ex-Cub Jeff Samardzija. Giants need to win one and get back home. Cubs trying to grab a stranglehold on the series.
Well, certainly like Kyle Hendricks here at Wrigley Field. He's had it fantastic season, particularly at home. He's had a good one on the road, but he's really earned this start. I'm excited for him tomorrow. A great opportunity to showcase everything that he is about and everything that he's done all season long against the San Francisco Giants. You're not going to see him change his game plan. Maybe concentrate on keeping that ball down, that fastball down a little bit. Think back to his last start. It elevated it a little bit early in that last start. Nothing to complain about. You're going to see a heavy dose of the changeup from Jeff Samardzija. Not a whole lot has changed. Now, he's had a decent season with the San Francisco Giants, and he's made some big starts for him, but it is going to be a heavy dose of velocity. I can promise you that. You're going to see 95 to 97. Everything out of that hand is pretty hard. Splitty, got a little bit of a cutter now. Not much has changed, though. Most things are going to be hard, and that's how he's going to attack these Cubs hitters. Let's see if they can't get some hits out of Jeff Samardzija.
And the Cubs like velocity.
They do.
So we'll see what happens. Maybe it will be more to their liking. Cubs win 1-0. Javy Baez, the big star. Make sure you keep it locked on CSN. Sportsnet Central's all over it. And Holly and I'll have pre-post again tomorrow, as we will every game throughout this, we hope, journey to a World Series championship. For Todd Hollinsworth, our great crew out here, I'm David Kaplan. Cubs win. We will see you tomorrow. Keep up.
Make sure he's in bed by 8.
Sometimes I get scared.
Scared of what, Danny?
The things I can't see.
Got a weird feeling. Almost forgot. In case anything happens.
Dad, I got this.
Some things are simply impossible to ignore. The strikingly designed Lexus NX Turbo and Hybrid, the SUV that dares to go beyond utility. This is the pursuit of perfection.
Meeting people is my life. I was embarrassed to show my teeth. It was time to do something that was going to be permanent.
The Clear Choice one-day approach is making dental implants a reality for people all over the country who suffer from missing or failing teeth.
We have expertise that you might not find anywhere else, all in one location.
The next day, I had a new smile. Couldn't wait to show some folks.
Schedule your free consultation today. We'll even talk about financing options.
I had the best smile I'd ever had in my life.
Call Clear Choice today.
If you call Chicago home, you know it's not the subway. It's the L. There's only one tallest building. Real pizza's baked in a dish, and it better be deep. And there's only one way true Chicagoans pay. Wintrust. Bring it home, Chicago.
I remember this one, May 7th. Cubbies Nats. Tie ball game, bottom of the 7th. Addy at the plate.
2-2. Hit in the air to right. Harper chasing after it. And he can't make the catch. Fair ball! Fair ball! 1 run in. Rizzo will score. Cubs lead by 2.
Don't get me wrong. Harper's a great player, but on this day, the better team broke through.
Whoa, baby!
What a game.
I'm Brett Seabrook, and you're watching CSN, home for your Chicago Blackhawks.
It looked, John, off the bat like that was going to get on out to Waveland.
But it got out just enough. A blast off of the bat of Javy Baez puts the Cubs up for good. Game 1 in the NLDS goes to the Cubs. Hello and welcome to Sportsnet Central presented by CLR. I'm Layla Rahimi. Javy plays the hero in a postseason pitcher's duel on the north side. Postseason clubhouse reaction and expert analysis coming your way on Sportsnet Central right now.
is Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR.
No stranger to the postseason, Johnny Cueto facing Jon Lester in Game 1 of the NLDS. Lester, a 1.74 ERA at home at Wrigley, which is epic, but not as epic as this. It is the hunt for October. Our Cubs playoff coverage brought to you by Lexus. And the Stars were out in full force before the ball game. Former Cub Billy Williams, former Bears head coach Mike Ditka as well. And of course, Pearl Jam's Eddie Vedder, just to name a few. Jon Lester making his 12th career postseason start, and his personal catcher David Ross had his back early. After Gorkys Hernandez bunts his way on to start the night, Ross doesn't let him go any further, catches him stealing at second, and then stares down the Giants' dugout. Not on my watch. Moving along to the third, it's a similar situation for the Giants. Connor Gillespie on first for Johnny Cueto. After Lester's first pitch, Ross fires to first base for the pickoff. Baez covering the tag completes the play. So Ross with a caught stealing and a pickoff. What was next?
Chicago. Ross with a drive to left field. That ball's well hit. Hernandez slides at the ivy to make a brilliant catch.
Hernandez, who was picked off by Ross in the first, gets some revenge. Cueto tips his cap. We are scoreless through 3 to the Giants' half of the fourth. A man aboard for Angel Pagan with 2 outs. And he takes Lester into left field. That ball nosedives and just gets past a sliding Ben Zobrist. Buster Posey, who began at first, could have possibly scored on the misplay. He pulls up at third with 2 outs as the Cubs catch a break. Next man up, Brandon Crawford with ducks on the pond, but Lester gets him to ground out to his counterpart at short. Lester, like a magician, escaping the jam. Home half of the fourth, Chris Bryant standing at second with 2 down. Ben Zobrist trying to push across the game's first run, but Kelby Tomlinson lays out and robs Zobrist of a single into right. Plenty of defense in this scoreless game through 4. Both starting pitchers clearly on their A game. Cueto still dealing as the Cubs bat it in the 6th inning. And Cueto in postseason form gets Lester. Then it's Dexter Fowler. And then Chris Bryant, all swinging. A 1-2-3 inning as Cueto punches out the side. 10 strikeouts for the Giants righty on the ninth. Still no scores. We go to the 8th. Bruce Bochy leaves in a tired Cueto to oppose Baez. Would the move pay off?
The quick pitch. And Baez sends it deep to left. Pagan is there at the wall, and it's in the basket.
Baez delivers a solo shot to left field. It was that kind of game. One swing of the bat by Baez changes the narrative in this tremendous pitcher's duel. So the Cubs have the lead going into the 9th as Baez enjoys the love from the fans. Joe Maddon summons Aroldis Chapman to finish the job, but the Giants would not roll over with 2 down. Buster Posey takes Chapman deep to left center. The ball barely stays in the yard. Posey a double to put the tying run in scoring position. Cleanup man Hunter Pence represented the Giants' final chance, and almost appropriately so. He grounds out to Baez at second. That ends the game. Chapman survives a nail-biting finish to record the save as the Cubs take the first game 1-0. It has been a pattern for these two teams. 6 straight games between the Giants and the Cubs have been decided by 1 run each. Jon Lester wasn't just impressive, he was efficient as well. 8 innings, just 86 pitches, retiring 13 batters in a row, and Aroldis Chapman shuts the door, getting the save.
That was a fun game. Fun atmosphere, from really just driving in this afternoon, coming to the ballpark and seeing all the people on Clark and all that stuff. So, that was my first playoff game with the Cubs at home, so that was pretty cool experience. Great baseball game. Really a lot to say about it, but not a lot to say about it. You know what I mean? Like, Cueto threw the heck out of the ball tonight. I kind of figured as we got going, it would come down to one mistake, and luckily we didn't make one, and they did, and that's think that's just kind of the beginning of this series. You know, I think we're gonna be in for it, and it's gonna be a grind, and we'll show up tomorrow and try to do it again.
To your left, John. John, when you come here and you've got Dave, you know, kind of bring David here with you, is this kind of what you were thinking about? These kind of nights, you know, a tight game like that, the way he can throw the ball.
No, I like the non-tight games actually. Personally, that'd be a lot better. But yeah, just the atmosphere. You know, like that's what makes it fun for us. You know, as players. You know, you show up, you grind it out. It's a long season, and these fans have been, you know, since I've been here, they've been here since day one. You know, it's been unbelievable to kind of grow with them as we've gone through this journey the last 2 years. So the atmosphere tonight was unbelievable from, like I said, from the time I stepped on the field to the end of the game. You know, just a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, this is what you play for. It's October. You know, but that's just one step right now that we got past, and we got to worry about step 2 tomorrow. And you know, they got a good guy going, and we got a really good guy going as well. So it should be another fun game.
Front row.
John, a lot's been made of how good the defense has been this year, and a lot's also been made of your struggles on defense. But tonight, you seem to be more comfortable and make the plays, throw the ball. I mean, were you? Was it a matter of not thinking about it, or you didn't seem to have those hiccups out there tonight?
I mean, if the ball's hit at me, I just try to catch it. I mean, that's kind of more self-defense than anything. You know, once again, I got to apparently talk to Nike about my gloves. I got another ball in a weird spot. I feel like I take pretty good care of my gloves, but, you know, if the ball's hit at me, I try to make a play, and then if it's not, I let the defense, you know, handle the rest.
Javy Baez turned on a 3-2 count against Johnny Cueto, and on pitch number 108 of the game, unleashes a solo home run to left in the bottom of the 8th inning, and that was the only run scored in the entire game, one of the Cubs' 3 hits. As we go back to Wrigley Field and hear from our post-game live crew, David Kaplan and Todd Hollandsworth.
An unbelievably electric atmosphere here in the Cubs. Get it done. Holly, this was an intense ball game.
It was.
2 great starting pitching performances. And in the end, Javy Baez is the difference.
Well, Javy Baez is the difference, but you're right. You talk about that intensity, but it was created by some inactivity. I mean, isn't that how we look at it? 0-0's up on the board all game long, kind of just waiting for that moment. Javy Baez provides it. Outstanding pitching in this ball game. No walks, 15 strikeouts between Cueto. Obviously, Jon Lester, outstanding. Wow, what a baseball game. We had a hero tonight, Cappy. We needed one, and we got one.
1-3-0 is just a little bit better than 0-6-0, and Wrigley goes home happy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, we were walking through the crowd, making our way down from up top in that 9th inning. I mean, you could just feel the atmosphere here. Electric. Again, just hungry for a win. When the ball was hit, there was this almost awkward silence in Wrigley Field, as if 40,000 people just stopped. They knew it was kind of hit well enough,
right,
but they weren't convinced, and everybody just buttoned their lips for like a second time. And I honestly, I felt it. And then as soon as the ball travels over, hits the hit in the basket, I mean, this place, the whole building was shaking. I mean, it's an absolutely incredible moment for me. I will talk about it till, honestly, as many days as I've got on this green earth. It was an incredible moment. Great to be a part of. I just could not believe for that 1 second in time, it was almost like time stopped, Cappy. Everybody was just like,
it was. That ball,
just, boom.
You and I are down.
Hit, right.
We're down the left field line, and that ball's flying by us, and you think, oh, I think he might be able to catch that. It's going to just come up short, and all of a sudden, it just gets in the basket, and then everything erupts.
Every conversation in the stands seemed to stop. Everybody, you know, whatever everybody was doing, they just stopped for 1 second. I mean, it was one of the most amazing, almost surreal moments I've ever seen in a baseball stadium.
Jon Lester was brought here for a moment like this. He stepped up and was magnificent. Johnny Cueto, you know, I'm listening to people where you and I were sitting. They're going, how could the Cubs not hit this guy? He was the All-Star Game starter, let's not forget.
Yeah, that's right. Johnny Cueto was really good. And again, a lot of that deception that I just talked about, Cubs hitters were scuffling with. Now, there was a middle inning there where I thought the at-bat started to really turn the corner that second time through, but we didn't really seem to build off it. Actually, Cueto got stronger, started dialing up that fastball, putting it where he needed to, mixing in his slider, turning over his changeup as well. well. He was in complete control tonight. We were looking, like I said, looking for a heroic moment.
How much does the fact that he varies his delivery so much, where he'll quick pitch you, he'll Louis T on you, he will give you so many different looks. How much does that affect the hitter?
I'll compare him to Jon Lester, since he is the one guy in our rotation that I talk about, varies his pitches so well. Not his mechanics, but his pitches, and he mixes it. Johnny Cueto does it a little bit differently. As you just said, Cappy, he'll do the Louis T on, right? Get that little back turn all the way back, show you nothing but the back of his head, and then he'll bring the 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He'll slide step you and bring a 93-mile-an-hour fastball. He'll slide step you and throw 89. See, that's what he actually does the best. It's not that, you know, he's up there just making stuff up there on the mound. He knows exactly what he's looking to do and how to vary his mechanics. He will quick pitch you, but it's his ability to add and subtract to what he does that complicates it. It's not when he does the Louis T that you always get 93.
Guys, thanks. Elsewhere, Dodgers and Washington taking on the Nats in the game one of their series. Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw on the mound. Top of the first, Corey Seager. Since that one, deep over the center field wall, was his first career postseason home run. 1-0 Dodgers. Top of the third, 2-0 LA. 2 outs, 1 on for Justin Turner, who hammers this breaking ball out of reach of Jason Worth in left field. Dodgers go up 4-0. Bottom of the third, Nationals now trailing 4-0 still. Anthony Rendon stings a 2-run, 2-out single to left field. The Nationals grab their first runs off of Kershaw. 4-2 Dodgers moving to the fifth. To the bottom of the fifth, Kershaw in a jam. Pitching to Danny Espinosa. Kershaw whiffs him for the third time with a nasty breaking ball. Kershaw exits after 5, striking out 7, giving up 3. Bottom of the ninth, Nats down 1. Last chance to knot it up. Kenley Jansen facing Jason Worth. Game over. Dodgers take game 1 on the road, 4-3. The Cubs and the Giants brought both their gloves to the ballpark in game 1, and the stellar defense was not lost on Joe Maddon. Up next, Kyle Hendricks looks to put the Cubs up 2-0. We will explain how Hendricks hit the books to climb charts among baseball's best. Stay with us here on Sportsnet Central.
The best things in life are free.
Choose excitement.
But you can give them to
Choose action. Choose Hollywood Casinos and you've already won. 2 Chicagoland locations with more of the games you want, more of the generous rewards you deserve, and celebrations that shine all night. That's the kind of star power that can take you places. Hollywood Casino, Aurora, and Joliet. There's no place like Hollywood.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust CLR. CLR makes quick work of the toughest jobs, dissolving crusty white buildup so your shower runs like new. CLR cuts through hard water buildup and helps keep your washer running clean. CLR also earned the EPA's Safer Choice seal, so it's safer for your family. Trust the power of the CLR family and trust your clean to CLR. CLR is available at these fine retailers.
I refuse to let myself be limited. I walk the walk of a man who isn't afraid to wear floral. I don't want to just look at the man in the mirror. I want to know who he is. It's me. I'm comfortable in my own skin, but a man can't walk in public in his skin alone. In the end, you can't waste any time thinking about the end. Wear what you want to wear. Just don't wear any doubts.
Rondo, D-Wade, Taj, Lopez. Get ready for a brand new era of Bulls basketball on CSN.
Tonight at 6, warm up for Game 2 of the Cubs-Giants series with Captain Holly an hour before the first pitch. Then immediately following the action, flip back for highlights, interviews, and more. Cubs Postseason Live starts tonight at 6 on CSN.
Here's the 3-2. Baez drives one in the air. Deep left field. Back goes Pagan. Back near the wall. Pagan at the wall. That ball is going for a home run. Javier Baez with a home run to left. Cubs lead 1-0.
Pat Hughes with the call on the Cubs radio network. Javi's homer is the difference in game 1, but Joe Maddon stressed the importance of defense in such a close game.
Obviously, right from the get-go, the bunt
and then we throw a runner out at second base, and eventually the pickoff at first base. Javy up the middle. Their defense was fabulous tonight. Their second baseman had a hell of a night. Both sides really played an equal kind of a game. Cueto was outstanding. Jon Lester was outstanding. Defenses played. It was a classic kind of an old school baseball game. Obviously, you'd like to win those things, but give both teams credit. That was really a well-played game of baseball.
Here's a look at the company Javy Baez joined, hitting home runs in 1-0 games in the postseason. Is it a good sign that the 2013 Red Sox and Mike Napoli are on that list? They won the World Series that year. Jorge Posada did it in the 2001 ALDS. That team went to the World Series. But a big reason for the Cubs' success has been their pitching and starters like Kyle Hendricks. Here's Luke Stuckmeyer.
Kyle's one of the best pitchers in the National League right now. Nobody's talking about it.
But if Kyle Hendricks keeps his current pace, people will be. In a rotation headlined by Jake Arrieta and Jon Lester, Hendricks just might be the Cubs' most consistent starter in 2016. Despite taking a step forward this season, Hendricks is just fine with taking a backseat to the attention.
I've always been that under-the-radar guy, probably because of the stuff, which is fine with me. I'm just here trying to worry about, keep my consistency going, work on what I can work on, control what I can control.
While Hendricks admits to not having overpowering stuff, the Dartmouth grad gets his advantage in the classroom, using his days in between starts to rely heavily on analytics and scouting reports, prepared by catching coach Mike Borzello. It's something he believes puts him over the top.
Oh, it's immense. I'm not the guy that goes out there and going to throw 98. I don't have the stuff that's going to beat you necessarily, so I think I need to pitch to report, or at least, I need a report to make me successful. So the work he puts in, I think it helps me probably the most out of anybody on this team, just because I need it so much.
Here's a pitch. Swing and a miss. A dazzling changeup. Big strikeout for Hendricks.
Each one for each team takes hours. It's a lot of work. So it's broken down into, how you start a guy, how you finish a guy, in between counts, kind of what you do. So I take his information, all he gives me, and then I start watching video. But it's a really good baseline for me. Then I start looking at actual physical, video, seeing guys' swings, what they actually look like, and how they play into that game plan, I guess, that's on paper. Then just see what weapons, that he puts in that plan that are mine that I can use.
Being smart helps, having a good memory, recall on things that were good, things that didn't go so well. But I think the one thing that people misinterpret is that this guy's got an internal burn and a competitiveness in him that really allows him to go out there and compete on an every start basis. He's looking at what the other starters are doing on our staff as well as other starters around the league, and he's applying it.
Maddox comeback sinker, and he gets a couple of guys on that pitch.
I remember when the Cubs made the trade for you, the first name that came up was Greg Maddox. It's a pretty good name to be linked to for a pitching style.
I did watch Maddox. It was towards the end of his career, but noticing how he pitched, how he used his two-seam, I was still in high school, so I wasn't throwing a two-seam yet. But just taking in those games and watching how he attacked hitters and attacked teams, I guess, overall lineups, I did learn a little bit from that. And now that I'm here, I think I'm starting to realize more and more the true genius he really was as a pitcher.
Whether Hendricks becomes the next Mad Dog is to be determined, but one thing is certain. The trade that brought him to the Cubs in 2012 kick-started his big league career, and it opened the door to an information superhighway.
Your path to the big leagues, it's different for everybody. There's a lot of luck involved. For me, getting traded over here, was part of that. But being part of this organization, I feel so lucky because I don't think any other team really does it the way we do it, especially with the reports and all the information we have, like you were saying. So for me, that being what I need and for me being on this team, it's a perfect fit for me, and I'm really lucky to be here.
Well, c'est magnifique, at least if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan. That was Roger Bruleau, the French-Canadian announcer for the Jays and Rangers game, and he probably had quite a few heureux calls. That's French for happy, because the Jays were coming off a 10-1 drubbing of the Rangers going into Game 2 au Texas. Allons-y.
That means let's go. Rangers hoping for some home field advantage. Down 1 in the series. Top of the second, Yu Darvish facing Troy Tulowitzki. And Tulo rips a shot that's deep to left field and gone. And the Blue Jays are up 2 as we move to the 5th inning. Toronto now up 2-1 in that frame, and things do not get better for Darvish. Kevin Pillar crushes one to left, and then it got worse. 2 batters later, Ezekiel Carrera takes Darvish deep to right, and then Edwin Encarnacion, the hero of the walk-off from a couple nights ago, lasers a shot to left and gone. Darvish gives up 4 home runs in just 5 innings of work. Toronto wins 5-3, and they can close out the series on Sunday. Speaking of 2-0, Cleveland trying to achieve that as well against the Red Sox. LeBron James in attendance to cheer on the Indians. Bottom of the second, Brandon Guyer loops a shot into left. That brings home Carlos Santana, and the Indians are on the board first. So later in that frame, 2 men on for Lonnie Chisenhall, and he smokes a line drive to right. Somehow that ball elevates just enough to leave the park. Chisenhall's first to the playoffs. Tribe up 4-0. Rough outing for David Price as he tosses just 3 1/3 innings, allowing 5 earned runs. All Indians in this one as they blank the Sox 6-0 and are now up 2-0. One pitcher the Cubs traded for, the other they traded away. Jeff Samardzija is more than ready for his return to Wrigley, and Kyle Hendricks' dream becomes a reality.
Do you have too many bills but not enough money? Would you like one lower payment for all debt, little or no money down? I'm attorney Peter Francis Geraci. Our Chapter 13 plans stop collections and creditors in one day for as low as $95 every 2 weeks. Get rid of bill collectors and high car payments. Get one lower payment today. Call or click now.
When you need to be debt-free, call 1-800-CALL-PFG. That's 1-800-CALL-PFG.
I remember this one, May 7th. Cubbies Nats. Tie ball game, bottom of the 7th. Addy at the plate.
2-2. Hit in the air to right. Harper chasing after it. And he can't make the catch. Fair ball! Fair ball! 1 run in. Rizzo will score. Cubs lead by 2.
Don't get me wrong. Harper's a great player, but on this day, the better team broke through.
Whoa, baby!
What a game.
On Friday, October 21st, join Comcast Sportsnet's Chuck Garfien as he hosts the 8th annual MDA Chicago Muscle Team Gala at Navy Pier. This fundraising event supports the Muscular Dystrophy Association and their summer camp program for kids. This special camp offers a week full of fun, laughter, and the opportunity for kids to bond and understand what it means to live with a muscle disease. Join us for a fun evening that includes local athletes, silent and live auctions, and a festive dinner. For tickets, visit chicagomuscleteam.org.
Haberman here from Discover Wisconsin. Join me and the rest of the DW crew every week on this station for all things Wisconsin. Find us on social media right now for gorgeous photos and great Wisconsin giveaways. Speaking of free stuff, did you know every month we give away an exciting vacation? This month you can win a prize package to the Rotary Lights in La Crosse. Just visit discoverwisconsin.com for details. Saturday mornings at 10 on Comcast Sportsnet.
Sports Talk Live, presented by the all-new Chevy Silverado. Weeknights at 5:30.
Well, 2 years ago, if you had predicted Jeff Samardzija would start a postseason game at Wrigley Field, you would be right. But the Northwest Indiana native is in the visitors' dugout. Kyle Hendricks takes the bump for the Cubs in Game 2, and Samardzija got rocked in his last start on the north side, a place where Hendricks has dominated this season to the tune of a 1.32 ERA. And the honor of pitching in front of a sold-out crowd at Wrigley is not lost on the man from Dartmouth.
It's a dream come true, really. It was a dream come true last year just to be pitching in a playoff game. But for the team, for Joe to have confidence in me to hand me the ball for this game is big. Like that being said, you don't make that big of a deal out of it. You know, on the other hand, you got to know you got to go out there, keep your simple thoughts, and just pitch the same game at the end of the day.
When Kyle's really on, which he's been on most of the season, you see a lot of really well-located fastballs with extraordinary movement, and then on top of that, an outstanding changeup, curveball, and then he's added a four-seam fastball with elevation. He's really made it much more difficult for hitters to narrow him down. So he's done a wonderful job here. He's a very bright young man. He knows what he's doing out there. So yeah, I really think his skill set plays in a lot of different ballparks. He really fits in here well.
Obviously, everything's a little different when you've pitched in one place on one side for so long, and then you have to go and do it on the other side. So, but really not too worried about that too much. I'm just more excited that I'm getting the opportunity to pitch in a playoff game, which, for me, have been few and far between, with going in 08 and then going briefly in 14. For me, I'm just excited to have that opportunity, and never matters where it's at or what time of day it is, or it's just the playoffs of the playoffs, and you want to have a good showing.
The plays of the day are presented by Lexus. Number 3, we go to the land, Red Sox and Indians. Top of the 8th, Hanley Ramirez shoots one down the line, and Mike Napoli dives and makes the play. Knapp robs Ramirez of a hit. Party at Napoli's as the Tribe shuts out Boston 6-0. Number 2, Blue Jays and Rangers, bottom of the 8th. Elvis Andrus drives one to center, but Kevin Pillar does this a lot. Dives and makes the catch, saving a run as the Blue Jays take game 2, 5-3. And number 1 is from the north side. Can you guess what it is? Bottom of the 8th, scoreless. Javy Baez at the dish, full count. Oh, yeah, it's the home run off Johnny Cueto into the basket. Baez's first career postseason home run as the Cubs win a thriller, taking game 1, 1-0. And finally, did they win in part because of this? Bill Murray with his rally cap and his shirt, and the caption on his shirt said, "I ain't afraid of no goat." You can't make that up. Bill Murray, always good luck. I don't care what anybody says. Thanks for joining us for Sportsnet Central, presented by CLR. For all your sports news 24/7, stay logged on to csnchicago.com. Layla Rahimi thanking you for joining me on this one.